Everything you see is an illusion. Quantum physics states that everything in the universe is connected. This contradicts conventional laws of physics based on time and space. A unified energy field interweaves not just subatomic particles, but also your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. This means your mind influences reality in ways you never could have imagined. If you pay attention, what you can learn from this video will change your reality forever. Imagine two identical balls, and you throw one in one place, while someone else throws the second one thousands of kilometers away. Now imagine that regardless of the distance between them, the result of one throw instantly affects the other. This isn't magic. It's a real principle of quantum physics called quantum entanglement. This phenomenon, verified by scientific experiments, shows that entangled particles remain connected, responding to each other even across vast distances. At the beginning of the 20th century, quantum physics began revealing reality's hidden side. The double-slit experiment demonstrated that elementary particles behave differently depending on whether they are observed or not. This means that observer consciousness affects matter, challenging traditional scientific logic. But there's an even more impressive phenomenon: quantum entanglement. In 1935, Albert Einstein, Boris Podolsky, and Nathan Rosen proposed a theoretical experiment known as the EPR paradox, suggesting that if entanglement was real, two particles could remain connected even if separated by light years. Decades later, in 1980, physicist Alain Aspect proved this to be true. He demonstrated that changing one particle's state instantly changed its entangled partner without any signals traveling between them. This confirmed the existence of an invisible interconnection between particles, a field existing beyond time and space. This principle, which works in the micro world, works exactly the same way in the macro world and affects your life, mind, and energy. This means your thoughts, intentions, and emotions can have far greater influence than you realize. When you not only understand this truth intellectually but realize that your attention creates reality and learn to consciously control your attention, you can tap into your hidden capabilities and realize your full potential. Look at the thoughts constantly spinning in your head. What's happening in your life now is the result of your thinking. If you're fixated on problems, I have debts, illnesses, the weather is terrible, you're feeding and amplifying these problems with your attention, making them only bigger. Realize that you are absolute consciousness. But before you can not only understand this but have a sensory experience of the unity of all being, you'll need to train your attention and perception to become strong. This knowledge isn't secret. It has been passed down through generations of teachers, and scientists in quantum physics proved this decades ago. But the world is changing, and now this knowledge is relevant for everyone. Understanding that consciousness isn't limited to your usual perception but interacts with the very fabric of the universe is now a scientifically proven fact. One of the most impressive studies was conducted by the HeartMath Institute, which found that the human heart generates a powerful electromagnetic field capable of influencing not only your own body but also the environment. Your emotions and intentions can extend beyond you, affecting other people and even events. If thought forms are energy, and energy never disappears, where do you think your emotions and intentions go when you project them into the world? Quantum entanglement says there's interconnection between all particles, meaning that when you think about something emotionally and intensely, that vibration resonates, attracting situations and reactions matching that frequency. This is why some people receive money, opportunities, relationships, and health encounters, while others get stuck in recurring cycles of struggle. The influence of this phenomenon on your life is profound, and one of the main factors in the interaction between your mind and the universe is your subconscious. It acts like an antenna, constantly receiving and transmitting frequencies. Your thoughts aren't just internal events in your head, they generate electromagnetic vibrations that travel through space, interacting with the energy field around you. But most importantly, this radiation doesn't only occur consciously. In fact, most of it comes from your subconscious. HeartMath Institute research shows that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field extending several meters beyond the body. This field interacts with other energy systems, acting as a bridge between your emotions and the environment. And who controls most of this process? Your subconscious. It constantly picks up external frequencies and emits signals based on your deepest beliefs. This means that if you have negative mental patterns, your subconscious will vibrate at that frequency, attracting situations and experiences reflecting that energy. But if you learn to recognize and see your thoughts and emotions, you can change them to begin transmitting a new frequency and thus radically change the events manifesting in your life. Surely you've noticed that when you're in a negative emotional state, everything around seems to go wrong, or vice versa. When you're full of positive energy, opportunities just start appearing. This happens because your vibrational field responds to what's stored in your subconscious. If the subconscious has the power to emit and capture frequencies, shaping reality around us, why can't most people consciously access this power? From an early age, we're taught to believe that reality is fixed, that the world is purely material, and that we can only change our lives through physical effort and rational logic. This limited view blocks our connection to the universe's quantum laws, making us prisoners of a reality that could be much deeper. Almost 100% of our daily actions are controlled by the subconscious, which is primarily formed in the first 5 years of life. During this period, our brain predominantly operates at theta wave levels, a state of high receptivity similar to hypnotic trance. This is when we absorb beliefs, patterns, and limitations from our environment. Any ideas received at this age become automatic programs in our subconscious later. Even if we consciously strive for abundance, success, or happiness, our deep consciousness continues to emit frequencies based on those limiting beliefs we absorbed in childhood. These beliefs become internal commands shaping our adult life. Even if you've grown up and no longer believe in these statements, your subconscious still accepts them as truth. Most people trying to change their lives feel stuck in repeating cycles. They don't realize that their actions, emotions, and consequently their energy field are determined by the subconscious still operating on old limiting programming. The connection between your inner beliefs and external reality is a direct reflection of what quantum physics calls quantum entanglement. The problem is that most people don't know how to properly work with the subconscious. People spend their lives trying to change external circumstances, not realizing that the true barrier lies within them. Just as a computer can be updated with new software, the subconscious can be reprogrammed with new beliefs that allow creating a new reality. But how do we open our hearts and learn not to react automatically to external stimuli? How do we begin to create love and abundance around us and consciously shape our reality? Research conducted by physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff suggests that consciousness may be linked to quantum behavior within brain cell microtubules. This means your own thoughts can exist in an entangled state with the universe. Everything begins with thought generation, which can be spontaneous or triggered by external factors. This thought activates specific neural networks in the brain, leading to the release of chemical substances, neurotransmitters and hormones, into the bloodstream. These substances, in turn, are responsible for the body's physical state and trigger corresponding emotions. Thoughts about stress lead to cortisol release, causing anxiety. The brain then checks the body's physical state against the emotion, which can amplify or alter the original thought, creating a feedback loop. If this cycle isn't interrupted, it can continue, intensifying negative emotions and thoughts, or conversely, positive ones, if you're in a state of gratitude or joy. Thus, it's important to understand how our thoughts, chemical reactions, and emotions are interconnected and influence each other in this cycle. You can deal with your unwanted state in the following ways. First, don't fight negative feelings, as this only intensifies them. When we actively resist our emotions, we only strengthen them, leading to greater internal tension and discomfort. Direct your attention to what's really real. Listen to the sounds of the world around you. Notice your face and the tension in it. This way, you're already removing your attention from the destructive cycle of your experiences. Second, simply live the moment. Accepting that everything has a beginning and end can help us realize that this state too shall pass. You begin to observe your reactions from the side, like watching a video game character. Initially, this may not be easy, but it's a matter of practice and skill development. This approach helps reduce internal resistance and allows emotions to flow naturally. Third, shift your focus of attention. Move it from being fixated on yourself and your problems to the unified field that is always abundant. Begin to serve it with your loving attention. Be grateful that life exists at all. Help others by showing them through your example gratitude for life and joy in living each moment. This is harder to do than say, but it will help make a quantum leap in your perception. It's important to understand that within each of us there is something greater, a divine presence or higher self that is always with us. This state of unity is overshadowed by our ego, which creates a false sense of separation from the world. When we begin to observe our thoughts and emotions from the side, we can see that our ego or I is by nature smaller than our whole. We won't even be able to find it. It's simply an illusion we've grown accustomed to over many years. This understanding helps dissolve negative states. Honest and unbiased self-observation allows us to realize that our true self is not limited to negative thoughts and roles we play. All these three keys can be unified into a more complete understanding. I am this space. I am this world. How will I treat myself? Love your neighbor as yourself. All people who are currently experiencing difficulties, suffering, or illness must understand one important truth. You are your consciousness. Everyone experiencing difficulties must realize their absolute nature. The only chance to change the situation is to be honest with yourself. Deceiving yourself is a costly mistake. It's important to examine what's happening in your life right now. If you're surrounded by many thoughts that you pay attention to and hold in your consciousness, I have debts, I need to feed my family, how will I pay off debts? These are all just thoughts. I'm sick. That's also just a thought. You must understand these are just thoughts. You, as absolute consciousness, have focused your attention on these thoughts and are holding on to them. This is the only reason why the same events continue to occur in your life. Realizing this is the first step toward change. Realize that you are absolute consciousness. You are alive, and that's what matters most. You can shape your reality from a state of presence. You don't think about how much you need to breathe to have enough for tomorrow, so why not think of yourself as someone who has all the possibilities in the world? Who's stopping you from doing this? Only you yourself, as a personality separated from all that exists. You may understand that possibilities are achieved through work, but this shouldn't define your life. Start enjoying each day, as this is the most valuable thing we have. If you don't see value in your existence, it means you're tangled in your thoughts. Start enjoying life and life will start bringing you joy. But if you don't rejoice, you'll experience life through resentment, fear, and self-hatred. Unlock your potential and allow yourself to be free.